it's my pleasure to close off the Big Data in Precision Health conference, our 7th one, to thank you for joining us. Before we do our tradition, which is to end with a quick review of all the comedic tweets that you have all been twittering out over the course of the last 2 days, I have the very important and much more important job of thanking the people who made it possible. As usual, although we faculty get to think about who might be great to have on stage and we get to sit back and listen to the amazing talks, really the people who make this work and make this happen are the ones behind the scenes. So first of all, I would love it if you could thank all the technical people, because they rarely get mentioned, but this went technically without a hitch, and they have their arms up at the back, but please join me in thanking them. And then in order to make sure that everybody is here on time, the badges are here, the meals are here, really every single little detail, there's a fantastic team behind the scenes. So please join me in thanking Kelly, Janet K, Robin, Laura, Janet F, Jamie, Noel, and I promised I would mention Kelly twice, so there we go. Please thank them. All right, well, what we normally do is have a quick look at what the social media felt about the conference. And so it was great that you were able to join us. There were actually over 500 people in and out of the conference over the course of these 2 days, 1,500 unique viewers on the live stream. I saw live streaming in Sweden. I know there was live streaming in a small town in Scotland, because my mother was watching at one point. So really, people have joined us from all around the world, which is fantastic. And we have a reach as of 1:30 to many people, 1 million accounts, supposedly. So we're very happy by that. We'll pick out just a handful of them to sort of recap the 2 days. Fatima took this pick pretty early on with, remember, Jeff Dean's amazing keynote presentation to kick us off. And Jeff, if many of you knew this already, but if you hadn't, then Googling him to see just how big an impact he's had on the origin and the advance of Google, you will, I think, be amazed, as I was. Daniel, thanks for, if you're still here, thanks for coming every year and for tweeting so well. Here, summarizing Nick Christakis' book, an amazing talk. We've been hoping for several years to have a session on the social determinants of health. We're obviously very technology-driven in this conference, but we can't forget the social part, and so I was really happy that we managed to do that this year. Also from Daniel, talking about focusing on human, and Latha and Megan, as you recall, talked about our new human-wide program, more details of that online. One of the things that I've been really happy about since we started the conference is diversity, and we work at it really hard, and there's a couple of ways in which we work at diversity. First of all, we're used to going to academic conferences and hearing from academics. Often we get industry representatives to come and talk too, but really there are other sectors, and we always try to make sure as many as possible are represented at this conference, not just academic and industry, but also from the regulatory side, from government, and also in this part of the world, of course, the investment community. So we were very happy to have the HHS session, and Don Rucker, of course, who we learned was one of the original biomedical informatics students before it was even a course here at Stanford, so definitely Stanford through and through. In terms of comedy, you can always find comedy by looking at AI and seeing how it gets confused between a variety of things. This was a great example from Matt. If you don't remember or weren't in that one, the dog and the blueberry muffin. There's several other really hilarious ones online. But of course, we couldn't have a big data in precision health meeting without an AI session, and Matt did a great job. In terms of some of the crazy things that we've seen that might be coming in the future, of sort of amazing ways in which technology might impact us, this was one of them. Jonathan Wilt talking about the idea of potentially identifying heart failure from somebody's voice. And this idea of ambient sensing has been a theme that I've really enjoyed over the course of these last 2 days. Serena, of course, PhD here at Stanford and coming back to Stanford from Harvard, another great talk about the idea of ambient intelligence and using the technologies you will remember if you were in her talk to essentially monitor multiple hospital rooms and to be able to essentially identify and have an early warning system for patients. We introduced a poster session a few years ago. It's just grown year on year, and I was just blown away by the quality of the posters this year, and really happy to have a chance to wander around and talk to some people. This year, we actually had some high school representatives. I don't know if you're still here. I think I said in a tweet earlier we had 2. I think we had 3 posters from high schoolers, so thank you so much for joining us if you're still in the room. Many posters and a great opportunity for close interaction as always. So then from today, of course, we had some interesting perspectives. Of course, we've touched a couple of times about how artificial intelligence derives much of its intelligence from human labeling, and human labels are often error-prone, and so this point was made also by Mimi today. Some of you will remember Will earlier, who told us about a few different things. He talked about how he was a genomics nerd. He had to get on a flight, so I'm safe. He's not in the room anymore. He mentioned that he hadn't written the lyrics to the musical Rent. I'm not quite sure why he mentioned that, but he did, so I thought that was important. But he also, if you recall, talked about Regeneron Genetics Center as a special kind of snowflake, which I thought was nice. So, and then he also said this, which was he pointed out that his dad had sent him a meme last week, and he wasn't sure where that came from, but he was happy that even the salty old scientists, as Russ Altman coined, could understand data science, and gave encouragement and credit for people perhaps in that more senior generation to understand these new technologies. And what a privilege it was, really, just to sit here with DJ Patil. I think you were really able to see just what an unbelievable person he is, and I've had the privilege of knowing him for a few years. But what an inspirational story. We were talking afterwards about how he absolutely owns his failures. I mean, he didn't hold them back, did he? He told you how he'd failed at math, and he told you about the company that he had started that failed. And I think that he's just such an inspirational story on so many levels, but at one level, just understanding that the path to a success story as high flying as his is also littered with failures, and we can learn from those. So just a really inspirational time, and we were so happy and privileged he was able to join us. I had one question in my back pocket that I didn't get to. If you follow his Twitter feed, you'll see he's been somewhat obsessed over the last few weeks with peeps. And I had no idea what these were. Does anyone in the audience know what peeps are? Oh, okay, like, see, I had no idea. If you want to laugh, then he has about 12 tweets about peeps. This was one of them. I was going to ask him to explain them. Sadly, we didn't get the answer to that question, but maybe next year. You never really know. Well, apparently, are they peeps? Is that? Yeah. Oh, are the round things peeps? They look like Cheerios. Marshmallows are peeps. Oh, right. Great. So I learned something today. That's really important. I can take that to the bank. Okay. Okay, here's something else I learned today, which is that humans can sweat up to 14 liters per day. Hopefully no one in the room is sweating quite at that level, but really a fascinating session on technology and toys. I should tell you, in case you didn't know, that was actually the informal name we had back sort of behind the scenes for that session. We had always meant to change it to something a little bit more formal that could, go on the program. It never got changed kind of by accident, so it became technology and toys. So that's where that session name came from. But really, some amazing toys were shown and some amazing technology. Of course, I think for me, one of the most mind-blowing ideas was what Dina Katabi showed us, in the idea of remote, non-touch, non-sensor-based monitoring, even through walls, of heart rate, of breathing, for sleep. It was just really a mind-blowing idea. And Mintu just, I think, touched on that again. I thought that we hit peak big data with the baby robot. I've been asking our team behind the scenes if they would bring robots to big data, and so we've been trying that for years, and we certainly had them on the screen. I loved the baby robot. And then the final section, thanks to the group at the end there. This has been such a major new thing for Stanford, the Apple Heart Study, learning how to work together with a large company and really thinking about how we can work together to move the field forward. So a huge thanks to the team for discussing really in detail that study, and for their work, of course, in actually completing it. Well, this is our mantra here at Stanford Medicine: predict, prevent, cure precisely. The conference here, Big Data for Precision Health, has been one of the ways that we've spoken about that and brought people from the outside in to try and talk about that. I wanted to just finish by thanking you all for coming and hoping that you'll come and join us this time again next year. Thank you.